For today, please join me in welcoming Ruth to give a talk about finding a job in a tight job market. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you. All right. So today in this talk, I'm going to be giving some advice for people who are still working toward their dream job. But if you just need to make some money quickly, I've also got some tips for you as well. The first part of this talk is about finding a career. And the second part is about finding an immediate source of income due to COVID. There is a theme that runs through the talk. Wherever you may be in your career, you are thinking about the long path and acquiring skills that are transferable so that you can get the job that you really want. If due to your circumstances, your paid employment doesn't allow you to really grow, then you need to create a plan that will help you acquire transferable skills. So I'm going to focus on career building first, and then I will talk to you about how to find jobs that are available now and talk about the reality of getting an interim job during COVID. So I want to acknowledge that times are really tough right now. During the first 2 months of the pandemic, the Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue metropolitan area lost over 600,000 jobs. Specific industries such as food and restaurants, travel and hotels, arts and entertainment, hairdressers and cosmologists, and construction were some of the hardest hit industries. And other jobs that were at risk for automation are more likely to have that happen now. CNBC says that 25% of American jobs are at risk for automation, including low-level sales jobs, customer service, order fillers, wait staff, data entry, telemarketing, shelf fillers, truckers, and food preparation, for example. So if you've been doing any of those jobs, it's imperative that you start thinking in terms of building a career that can't be replaced by a robot. So the first part of this talk is on finding a career or progressing in the career that you have. Are there careers that you are drawn to? The good news is you do not have to have it all figured out. Any of the work that you do, any work you do helps you build a work history. Employers want to see at the bare minimum that you can show up for work reliably. So almost any job you do, as long as you have a supervisor who's willing to write you a letter of recommendation at the end of it, is valuable. But it is important to get to know your supervisor and make sure they know your work, because you will want a letter of recommendation for them. In Accountability Circle, I've talked to people who are young people, or I guess, asynchronously on the phone or whatever, where I'm helping someone, but they don't know who their supervisor was. Like, at bare minimum, please try to know your supervisor and create a relationship there. If you're still in college, and we have a few people who are still in college, go to the internship office, either in person or online, and see what internship experiences are available. Internships during college are one of the best ways to be hireable after you graduate. And also, if you go to Indeed.com, all of the internships that they have listed there are paid internships. So, that's really, you could get some actual paid work at the same time. My next advice applies whether within an internship or in a current job situation, or even if you've never been hired anywhere yet. And this super important idea is transferable skills. So here we go. Make a list of the skills you have. Use a book like What Color is Your Parachute? That's a classic. It will help you identify your skills and find the words to describe them. Next, make a list of those skills you don't really have yet, but think you can learn or improve. And what I mean here is you might know a little Photoshop or a little Excel, but you shouldn't really be putting that on your resume unless your skills are up to date. If you haven't done something in a while, that's okay, but make a practice plan. And for example, if, like some of our members, you've recently taken some coding classes, keep practicing, build things, because the more you use your skills, the stronger they will get. With a basic resume, write a basic resume that includes your skills, your work history, your education, your contact information. And now we're ready to do some magic. Make a list of the job titles you think you are interested in, and then go on a search engine like Indeed and search for those jobs. Read the qualifications that they expect. Do you have them? If not, make a plan to get them. So a plan might include, working some more with some software or some skills you have, but it can also be increasing your knowledge about a certain topic, or even if you're in a current job, focusing on building relationships that might be helpful if you want to move up or move sideways or get a different job. All right. So you've got your plan in place and you've got a basic resume. You want to tailor your resume for the very job you're applying for. Sometimes the wording is industry specific. Use the phrases from the job posting. Say your objective is to get that very job at that very company. And in your summary list, the qualifications, the very qualifications that they are looking for. Resume.com, by the way, has some free resources to help you write a resume and write cover letters. If you want a job that takes skill, consider these numbers from TalentWorks. It takes about 200 good job applications. That means not buckshot, but reasonably matched to your skills and individually written to acquire a job. You have an 8% chance of getting a job interview for a single good application. And it takes about 15 interviews before you get an offer. So looking for a job, you should think of it that it is a job in itself. Part 2, I'm going to give you some tips from Indeed.com on how to use Indeed to do some job search during COVID-19. Why Indeed? Just because it's the largest job search engine in the world. If you've lost your job due to COVID, the first thing you want to do is you want to know your rights. So check and see if you have 3 months of continuing health care from your company through COBRA, and try to keep your health care. If you have loans, such as an auto loan, student loan, or mortgage, check with your bank to see what options they're offering for someone who is impacted by COVID. The Washington State Bureau of Labor and Statistics has a page called the Novel Coronavirus Outbreak Resources with information regarding workers' compensation and paid sick leave, and also just like your rights if you're still working around people wearing masks and things like that. So check that out there. If you've lost your job due to COVID, apply for unemployment insurance. And then make a plan to continue learning and growing. The first thing on your list needs to be about self-care and positive ways to self-comfort during this time. Okay? Can't do anything until you can be still and calm and feeling okay. So make yourself a list and include some self-care and self-comfort on the top of the list. Think about who is your support team, your friends and family, of course. But can you find a job mentor? Can you join an accountability group? We've had accountability groups here at Seattle Atheist Church in the past, for example. Okay. Now there's a thing on Indeed called assessments, and you can just Google Indeed assessments. First, you will probably find the section which is like for the employers, but you have to keep looking for the part that's really targeted at the job seeker, because you can do assessments that help you evaluate your job skills. There are 150 assessments. And it allows you to share your scores with prospective job employers. Okay, so go to your Indeed resume page, scroll to assessments, click to toggle assessments, and then you can say yes or no whether you want to hide or share that with an employer. And the score will last for 6 months. So like if you get a bad score, you can't retake it. But on the other hand, it kind of gives you a more realistic assessment of if you wonder, like they're looking for skill X, can I show that I have skill X? Okay, once you get your resume written, add it to Indeed, again, the largest job search engine, and add hashtag ready to work to let employers know that you're ready to start now. You can browse for currently available jobs. Some have an urgently hiring tag. If you want remote work, search with the terms WFH, work from home. The words work from home and remote. Create job alerts to get email updates about new jobs that meet your requirements so that you can be applying for jobs, as they're posted. Okay. Also, you want to search for Indeed hiring events. In the what field of Indeed homepage, type hiring event or Indeed hiring event. Some of the hiring events are virtual. So you want to create an alert for hiring events. So when there are new hiring events, you can go register. You'll register, you fill out screener questions, and then you check your email for information about the event. Once you've registered, you'll get an email and it will tell you the technology requirements for the virtual hiring event. And also it'll tell you like what you need to bring to the hiring event. And on the day of the event, you'll probably be texted when it's time for you to join a virtual video conference. All right. The way to have a great online interview is to prepare as much as possible before the event. So here's some tips. Check your webcam and audio well in advance. Be sure you have a quiet, well-lit space for your interview and that you will not be interrupted. Clear off your desk as well as clean the areas around and behind you. Less is more. Have nothing except for a paper and pen and your resume on your tabletop. Plan to dress professionally. Business casual means a button-down shirt and slacks or a modest top and pants. Wear pants, even if you plan to only be seen from the waist up. In case you have to stand up, you want to have something professional on your lower half. Okay, read that email about the hiring fair very carefully, know what is expected, what to bring. And you will want to research the company or companies that will come to the event. Sometimes a hiring fair has multiple companies. At bare minimum, read that company's homepage and find them on social media. Work on an elevator pitch to describe yourself and why you'd be a good match for the company. On the day of your interview, put a note on your door so that no one walks in on you, no housemates. Make sure your housemates know not to start an internet connection that's going to slow your connection to a crawl. Okay? Is that clear? Make sure your housemates don't start downloading something big that will slow your internet connection down to a crawl. Okay, on your own computer, close your windows and tabs for privacy and a faster connection and set your phone to silent. While you are waiting, generate as much calm, positive energy as you can for yourself. I can tell you, as somebody who used to hire people, you get some weird interviews. People get in a bad headspace and they go negative, even when they start asking you questions about like why you left your last job. I don't know. The negative thing usually works against you. So be calm and positive. And remember that if something goes wrong during this interview, you can always calmly ask to reschedule. So ask the interview if you can get their email and follow up with a short thank you note immediately after the interview. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Just thank you for your time, kind of thing. During the interview, you may get asked how you found the job listing. The interviewer literally just wants to know how you found the job listing because their company is spending money to list jobs. So just tell them where you found the job listing. Okay. If you're asked why this job, you should be able to say, what about the job listing makes it a good match for your skills? Say positive things about the company and say that you would like to get the job. But you should also ask some questions too. Here are some examples. Can you tell me about my responsibilities? What is the person who had this job before me doing now? Will I have a mentor? What would a typical day look like? So really, it's just important that when they ask you, do you have questions, that you have something that you can reasonably ask. All right. Your friends here at church are very happy to listen to your interview pitch or give you an encouraging call of support if you request support. So please don't be afraid. We're on your support team. Okay. Also, specifically, there are people here in the church who have experience with like career coaching and things like that. And so I want to acknowledge that if you're here in the audience and you want to introduce yourself and let people know that, that's great. What I'm kind of interested in is I would like to steer the discussion towards the idea of developing a career, whether you're a really young person just starting out, you're just trying to get that first job or first meaningful job, or if you're a person who is looking to take your next step, if you're a person who's retired, what was your career path, some things like that, because I got to, talking about how COVID means that there aren't jobs or something like that is not going to be very helpful to whoever it was. There are people who voted for this talk because they are actually looking for work. And so what we want to do during this discussion is hopefully say something which might be helpful to them, if that makes sense. But we're going to open it up for discussion now. And I hope that that was helpful to someone.
All right. Thank you, Ruth. Can everyone unmute their mic for a moment and give a round of applause?